Trump has announced 50% tariff. The main talk right now is about oil. The major affected sectors are pharmaceutical and textiles. The real one is yet to come. It is about tech. I had been with tech for 25 plus years. I want to contribute to the Indian side thought process. From the tech side, I have not seen much of defense. So far, the only points had been that, okay, without Indians, the US tech will collapse, Indians are the greatest, etc. These are simply not true. We need better arguments. We need to put together the legitimacy why Indians deserve to be in American tech work. With MAGA, he had big problem due to Epstein files and so on. He wants to re-establish his trust by punishing anyone with Russia. If it works, it will come to tech. With the preparedness of Indian side currently, I don't think there is much of defense. I have not seen much of right arguments put forth. So this video is about those arguments on Indian side. First, we need to understand what is the concerns of mega movement or what is the main talking points of mega vis-a-vis Indian tech. Mega has three things. First is the great replacement. It is the great replacement theory is about replacing American whites with other ethnicities. The biggest concern they seem to have is with Indians. Recent years, the hate against Indians had been steadily increasing, and from either of the parties, there is not much of response to that. Secondly, in the US, white Americans are replaced by browns. The H-1Bs came as low-skilled, low-cost labor compared to high-skilled, high-cost whites. The companies are preferring low-cost, low-skilled Indians. H-1Bs are paid less, and hence the companies are preferring them and replacing whites. Third talking point is that American jobs are shipped overseas, especially to India. Without putting forth the arguments for Indians in US jobs, Trump policies cannot be influenced. Hence, it is a very important video. Please watch it till the end. Share and subscribe. Talk to all tech workers in India or abroad and share it with them and then ask them specifically to watch it. And also let me know your thoughts in the comments. So let us proceed. So let us go to the first one, great replacement theory. So we will look at the demography data, at least with regard to the Indians. The main source, as we all know, would be through naturalization of immigrants. I have data for 2022, 60 to 70,000 Indians were naturalized. So that year, what is the number of babies born in the US? The white only. The white babies were 1.8 million plus. So if 1.8 million whites are born, that year only 60 to 70,000 Indians are naturalized. And there is a huge period of at least 15 years for any Indian to come to US and become a natural citizen, at least 15 years. And for some people it's much longer. Add those details in the comments. We don't know whether great replacement theory is true or not. At least Indians are not replacing whites to that extent. And I didn't talk about the babies born. Those are negligible compared to the white baby births. Let us go to the second talking point. Indian H-1Bs have taken over American jobs and whites are displaced. I have jobs data of US and two tables are there. The first one is about the software specific table and the second one is about all of engineering roles. There are approximately 1.6 million jobs in the US. Out of 1.6 million jobs, 72% are held by American citizens of all races. All of India born people would be 12%. This would include green card holders, H1Bs and so on. At least as per this table, Indians have not taken over Americans. So now let us look at the ethnicity data. 50 to 60% are whites, 20 to 35% are Asians, that includes Indians and Chinese. And the foreign born workers, if you look at, India is only 30%. But the narrative is more like 100% or 90% is coming from India. Not at all true. So far, whatever I spoke is about the software. Now let's look at the larger engineering roles. Include software, civil, mechanical, etc. As per the data I have, 2.3 million is the total jobs. Out of these, 66% are US born. India born are 8.7%. Here comes the H1B data. All of foreign born, that means India plus other places, is about 80,000. And the total H1B approvals in 2024 are 400,000 and 2023 are 730,000. Even before Trump, it was 730,000 altogether. Even the whatever is considered worst is 730,000, and it is not all Indians. Around 30% are Indians. When we look at the cumulative, it is true that 70% of these numbers are Indians. Remember, this is not 70% of all the workforce. It is 70% of H1Bs. It is 530,000. Remaining about 200,000 are others. This would include whites. The claim is that H1Bs are paid low. Low skilled, low paid H1Bs are the reason high skilled, highly paid whites are replaced. If you look at the H1B data of 2024 by company, the Indian companies are accounting for about 20,000 or 22,000. Majority of the jobs are from Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta. Do you really think that these companies import people to save few dollars? No, they have enough money. They are not trying to save few dollars. There is another allegation with regard to H1Bs. When there are white citizens, H1Bs are still hired, and it is due to cheap labor. Big elephant in the room is ageism. Traditionally, there had been more tech workers and engineers from the US. So that means the more seniors in engineering are from the US. Ageism is a global problem, including in India and China. Younger workers are preferred, and this has nothing to do with H1B. So if you see that there are many very experienced white software engineers or white engineers not employed, and there is some H1B working, this is not a race issue or an Indian versus American issue. It is an issue of skill, age, and work culture. So you may see brown people on road, but they are all not engineers, definitely not our Indians. There are people from other countries such as Pakistan and Bangladesh. Also, British Empire took Indians to slavery to places like Caribbean. They also may have migrated. They are again not Indian. So whenever you see brown on road, they may not be H1Bs stealing American jobs. So we have addressed the great replacement. Secondly, we have addressed Indian stealing American jobs part with numbers. Now let us look at American jobs going abroad. What do we mean by American jobs in the first place? Big tech companies are global companies, not just American. Also, American companies are selling everywhere, including India. That means there is a lot of revenue coming into US, and it's not just US revenue alone. If there were no WTO or globalization, all this revenue would have been part of the respective country and they would have created jobs locally. So the engineering jobs in American companies, if you look at 100%, are they American? I'm not really sure if you look at the spirit of globalization. If US companies take revenue from somewhere, they probably would give up some of the jobs also. The companies know this, but the tax revenue from these companies, how the government and people, whether they have utilized it properly, so that is outside the purview of this video. But that should not be the reason to hate Indians. Now let us look at the revenue share. Alphabet, 48% is the US revenue, remaining are coming from international. Microsoft, 51% is US, remaining are international. Amazon is 68% US. Apple, it's only 36% the US share. Everything else is from outside. Meta, again around 36% only is the US share. Everything else is coming from outside. Now look at the situation in India. Indian tech is totally dominated by American companies. Local companies without American money cannot survive, cannot compete, cannot create local products. It is not for lack of skills. It is because the market is totally captured by American companies, and the companies also influence the policies. The American companies also hold the control over media and the government. So local companies just cannot create products and sell it locally. Otherwise, tech is not a big thing these days. Everything is open source, everywhere it's available. If India locks the economy, these can be done locally. There is no need for most of the US companies. But it is not how the globalization is working right now. To establish local companies, there is another major hurdle, that is the currency, the global reserve currency. If everything goes back to gold standard, if every country trades in each other's currency, then maybe some currencies will not be so strong. Their purchasing power also will reduce. That means their R&D budget also will reduce. Since dollar is the reserve currency, there is no option but to undollar. The US mega movement cannot dictate that all the US company jobs should become American, and at the same time they cannot also say that reserve currency also should be American, and the market access and all other things which mega wants rest of the world has to listen. That is not going to happen. It cannot work both ways.